So here's how much your Social Security benefits will be if you make anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 per year, according to CNBC. So let's check this out.
Want to invest in Bitcoin? It's as
Of
easy
course.
as
That is a loud ad.
GBTC. Grayscale. The first monthly Social Security check was cashed in 1940 for a grand total of about $23. Fast forward to 2020, and the average retired worker gets almost $1,500 a month from Social Security. Nearly 9 out of 10 people aged 65 and older receive Social Security benefits, making it an essential part of retiring in the U.S. Benefits are based on your income, the year you were born, and the age you decide to start taking money out. Here's a few case studies. These numbers assume you'll turn 62 in 2020 and had a steady income over the course of a long career. First, let's look at someone who averaged $30,000 a year. Social Security.
Now here's another thing too, right? Like $30,000 is very low to be averaging every single year. Just keep that in mind. The majority of people are going to make more than $30,000 a year, especially if you're married.
Takes your top 35 earning years, adjusts them for inflation, adds them all together, then divides that number by 420, the number of months in 35 years. That gives you 2,500. Still with me? That figure is your average indexed monthly earnings, or AIME. Simply put, it's your monthly pay for the last 35 years. There's still some math to get through. Your benefits are determined by bend points in an equation, almost like a tax bracket, but it's used to give you money instead. The less money you've made, the higher a percentage of your salary you'll get back. This is designed to help low-wage retirees. Here's how the bend points work based on your average monthly salary from before. You get back 90% of your salary from the first $960. That's over $850. The next bend is a little trickier. You get 32% of your earnings between $960 and $5,785, which comes out to just under $500. And at $30,000, we won't have to worry about that third bend. Add those together, and you get your monthly benefit of $1,357 from a $30,000 salary if you wait until your full retirement age. Now let's run some more salaries through the bend points. If you made $40,000 a year, you can expect more than $1,600 every month in retirement. Bump your lifetime salary up to $50,000 a year, and your benefits will be about $1,900. A $60,000 salary means you'll get over $2,100 every month at your full retirement age. At $75,000, you'll need to start using the third bend to get your total of just under $2,500. And finally, a $100,000 salary will turn into over $2,700 in Social Security benefits. These numbers assume a lot of variables, but give you a picture of what to expect when you retire. You can go to SSA.gov to get an official estimate of your benefits and tips on what age you should retire. And don't forget, Social Security is not meant to be your sole source of income for retirement, and the bends and totals are always changing, so you still need to be serious about saving for retirement.
Now I love that they put that at the end, because here's the thing, right? To those that end up stumbling upon this episode, Social Security is so badly managed that it is basically a negative return on your money. Period. End of story. Right? Because they are literally taking the money out of your account. And like basically the only people that end up coming ahead are people who do not pay into it, which are basically, I believe, only preachers that get an exemption that they can apply for. So those are the only people that actually come ahead because they don't have to pay into this system. And the reason why I also say that, right, is that I believe within like the next 12 years, there's a high likelihood that Social Security will actually end, meaning they will run out of money. Keep that in mind. And this is the reason why you need to manage your finances, manage your money so that you have a strong financial foundation. And what I mean by this is that you have no debt, you have an emergency fund, and you have money automatically going towards investments that will eventually provide you with a cash income, meaning you will be able to live off of the money that it actually produces so that you do not have to just rely on something like Social Security, which may not even be around by the time that you actually retire. Keep that in mind, right? Because it may not even be there anymore. So if you're like in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, or even if you're in your 40s, by the time that you retire, you might not be able to even get any money, even though you've been paying into it. And what's really sad is that let's say that you're like 50 years old and you're basically trying to like rely on Social Security for your retirement because you got no money in the bank and you have a mortgage still on your house or all this kind of stuff. You get like credit card debt and it just ends. Like, what are you going to do? Right? So this is why you need to do your best to get out of debt so that you can start funneling as much money as you can while still living a very good life into investments that will help you retire and live a life of more freedom, right? Because if you get yourself in a situation where you're able to live the life that you want, where you don't have to rely on the income from Social Security, and when you do get Social Security, if you do end up getting Social Security by the time you retire, it's just basically a bonus, kind of like the cherry on top of your ice cream. Like, it's not the actual ice cream. It's just like that little tiny cherry. You're just like, okay, I'm not going to complain about getting this extra money, right? Even though it's technically your money at a loss, right? So that's something to really think about, right? So if you are wanting to learn how to get out of debt and manage your money in a very simple way so that you do not have to rely on Social Security, go check out 40inbox.com to learn how to get out of debt and live a more free life when it comes to money, right? Now, feel free to give your thoughts. Feel free to give your thoughts as to, are you hoping to just rely on Social Security? Is that your plan for your retirement? Or are you planning on doing something else, right? Because again, there is literally no guarantee that when you retire, you will actually get Social Security. But let's read more into the story. So the average Social Security benefit is around $15.44. So pretty much you could kind of like use that as like an example number, because if you were to go to the website and try to like fill it all out, it's kind of a pain. But if you just want like to do like run like very rough numbers to kind of get like an estimate as to where you stand for retirement, you could use this number 1544 just to kind of like check it out. So with inflation on the rise, retirees are expected to get as much as a 6% cost of living increase in their 2022 checks to shore up their budgets. And the size of your payment, however, will be based on income from your working years when you were born in the age, blah, 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 blah. Yep, Social Security generally was not envisioned as your sole source of money for retirement, and the totals are always changing. And again, remember, I mentioned that this is most likely actually going to be going away. So the thing is, I do like how CNBC actually broke this down, and it was like CNBC/Acorns that broke this down, because it's a very simple way of explaining it, and a lot of people really need to take their retirement seriously. Like, I understand if people end up stumbling upon this, I understand that people want to live in like the now. I 100% agree that you should enjoy your life, right? But you should also set your future to live a life of freedom so that you don't have to live a life of stress where you're like afraid of where your like next meal is going to come from, or am I going to even like be able to stay in the house I lived in for like 20 years? Like, you don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to end up getting homeless when you're retirement age. Like, that's just going to be sad. It's going to be depressing, and it's going to be very hard to actually fix that situation. So feel free to give your thoughts. Stay tuned for more episodes.